balloons and bicycles. I hope you're having a lovely August so far, and we're really excited to share with you today the Summer Meadow collection. As we move into the latter part of summertime, the wide range of long grasses, which in the wild meadows have long been left in peace, grow tall and go to seed to become just as beautiful as the flowers left in bloom. And as they drift from side to side in the warm currents of air, they part to reveal bold splashes of bright primary colours from the natural scatterings of wild flowers, which almost negotiate between themselves for growing space to provide a perfectly balanced ecology and stunning distribution of colours. In today's video, we'll be sharing with you how to construct the Summer Meadow medium letterbox flowers. Our vase today is already prepared with both the water and the flower feed. However, if you would like to learn how to prepare your water vessel, you can find the link to our flower care video in the description box below. So first of all, we'll need to construct the grid, and with this collection, we'll do that by taking the different varieties of grass stems and almost knitting them together in a cross-like formation. So first we'll take the Deschampsia, which is in this beautiful tawny colour and contrasts so beautifully against the mottled greens of the other grass varieties. This is a very thin stem, and if we just spread it out, just very roughly, it'll actually create its own grid very naturally. So next we'll then take our Pennisetum, and cutting down the height of this, we'll do so in a way that still takes full advantage of the beautiful leaves which come off the bottom of the stem. So we'll just trim at an angle, just above where those leaves come off. We'll add the seed head in the centre somewhere, just by giving it a wiggle and moving it through the grid, and then we'll add our leaf so that leans off to the side. So now we'll take the Pennisetum. Again, we'll trim this down, but because the purpose of the grass, as well as creating that summer meadow effect, is also about creating the structure for the longer, softer stems to sit in, we will still make use of the cut off stem by adding this into the middle of the grid, just to help start packing it out. And now we'll take the Briza, which I've been on to Roberta about all day, saying it reminds me of crickets, especially with the sound. And these are very delicate stems, so sometimes they might naturally crease as this one has, but given the fact that we'll be using these in the lower sections of the design, that's actually okay. So I'll show you what to do in a moment with them. Meanwhile, these two stems are still fully intact, so we'll just trim them down to size accordingly. And we'll just lean those off in opposite directions in the left and right. Oh, there, that one's gone just now. That's okay though. We'll trim where it's creased, and we'll still add it in the right hand position. And taking the final stem, again this one has flexed just there, and we'll just add this as a centerpiece at the very front. And then to make use of those stems like we've just mentioned, we'll add those in finally. So the next stage is to arrange the candle-shaped stems. So we'll first work with the Anthurium, stripping away the leaves that aren't necessary, i.e. the ones which will be under the water level. That's just too high. You can always tell when the stem is too tall still for the vase, because it literally looks like it's about to fall out as soon as you let go. So with our beautiful larkspur, we'll have some offshoots that we can just trim away and keep to one side for now. And at the very end, we can use these to dress the opening of the vase. And we'll just keep trimming it down until it sits at the right height, so that it mirrors what's happening on the opposite side. So now we'll take our Blue Delphinium. So this delphinium is very long, as you can see. So we'll just trim this away again, where there are offshoots for leaves, because we can use them. So I'm just cutting away on an angle, just above where the leaf comes off the main stem. And in this case, now that we have a stem to the right height, anything that would sit under the water level we'll just trim away, but again, keep to one side. And we'll position this in the middle, just giving it a wiggle around. The white and yellow flower varieties in this design are the white aster and the goldenrod. So the white aster is taller than the goldenrod anyway. So I think actually keeping the white aster to the back of the design and making sure it sits higher than the delphinium will also add a nice textured backdrop for the delphinium to shine and really contrast against. Whilst the colour of yellow at the very front, sitting somewhere as it merges between the two grasses, will add for another real unexpected contrast of colours by positioning this very close to the blue and next to the tawny colours of the other grass shoots. So we just position this in the centre, move the grass along slightly, because everything is just so beautiful in its own right. So we really just want things to have that chance, really. So next we'll take the Nigella and we'll just look to see if there's any negative spaces. So actually, this white aster has decided to lean slightly off to the left. Therefore, we'll make the most of our Nigella by positioning it slightly off to the right. And that just fills that void. Now we just have, as the final splash of blue, our cornflower. And working to the magic of 3, we'll start to consider how the Nigella and the delphinium are already placed to work out which is the best relative space to position the cornflower. And what I'm just doing here is making sure that the flower heads are facing the position that the flower display will be mostly viewed from. So now we have almost a cross-sectional diagonal line of blue starting to be built. So from the Nigella off here on the right-hand side at the back to the delphinium in the centre, we can then bring in our cornflower, and again, working with the graduation of heights, we'll trim away the cornflower's stem, but still working with that line, making sure there is an even distribution of space now between the 3 points of blue. We might want to lean the Nigella off to one side a bit more. So now we'll take our roses, which come in an ombre of different pink colour varieties, from a very deep fuchsia pink garden rose to the apricot peach with a fuchsia pink centre in the spray rose, and the very delicate powder pink of the traditional rose. So first we'll add in the fuchsia pink garden rose and find a way to create some symmetry with the anthurium, which is in a similar hue. So I think maybe if we just add that to the front, sat by the contrasting Blue Delphinium, those two colours together really bring one another out. And actually, same for the goldenrod, the yellow against the fuchsia pink, it just really pops. And so now we'll take the powder pink one. So as you can see at the moment, the aster is leaning quite far back. Just a little technique. If you want it to sit more upright, with later stems, you can actually just sit it upright and insert the other stem behind it, which just allows it to be pushed forward that little bit more. So now that we've positioned the rose, it seems appropriate actually to just rearrange the position of the Pennisetum, again just to make sure it has full visibility. So now we'll take our dahlia and see if we can actually position our dahlia to create some balance with the fuchsia pink on the other side. So this is where we can see a void at the moment, and that dahlia has just sat absolutely perfectly in the grid, just where we needed it. And then as a final splash of colour, we'll just weave in our apricot coloured rose between the grass varieties. So now we just have some remaining offshoots of Briza, alongside those offcuts of Delphinium and Larkspur. So we can now just use those to dress the outside of the water vessel, around the edge, and maybe also just to add some extra textures in the central area. So these Brizas will sit perfectly, I think, in that area, so we'll just give it a try. And again, as we always say, this is our mantra: there is no such thing as right or wrong in floristry, only a matter of opinion. So everything that we do is just about preference. And even though you can't completely see the seed heads, as you work your way around the vase, they do start to show through in some angles more than others, which I guess is what you get when you walk through a meadow. So now with the offshoots of Delphinium, we'll add those into the central area now as well. So with these offshoots, you can see it's created a V shape. If you were to add these into the grid at this stage, you might actually disrupt the positioning of some of the other flowers. So we just simply want to trim away so we can add them in as individual pieces and slot them into the grid where there's available space. So just add those in around the front. See, it's funny, isn't it? You might not even think so much to this, but when it's added in the front like that, it just looks so pretty. I'll turn that around so you can see it from the angle I'm seeing it from. And also just to say, with the spray roses, should any of the flower stems break away, because they are also very delicate, again, there's no need for anything to go to waste, and we can definitely work this to our advantage, because sometimes having flowers sit very low to the opening of the vase, as well as very high up, creating that variety of different flowers in different textures at different levels, all helps keep the eye moving throughout the design, which is exactly what we're going for. Again, because we just want to make sure every flower has its chance to shine, making sure every flower stem has its own space is really important. So as you can see, the grass now weaves its way around every variety of flower, creating a real distinction as well as that summer meadow effect. So I think we now have an overall balance with our design. And there you have it, the medium summer meadow letterbox flowers. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you enjoy the rest of August.